pick Steve Harvey as the representative for all things black. Steve Harvey, let's keep this shit funky. Steve Harvey is on his third marriage. His third wife was mistress to his second wife. Yet, black people have anointed this the oracle when it comes to black dating. This nigga wrote a book on dating. You on your third wife, homie. With all respect, why can't we pick a that know what he's talking about?
Think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie. That was disturbing. With all the emails and the text messages and the different things that were that I was finding out about, I thought the least that he could do, make me whole at the end of it. He left. He just left, walked out the door. Once he realized that I was going to divorce him, he walked out the door. He had a shoulder bag. He walked out. Went right to New York, to our apartment that we had there, which I never got to see, by the way, and then she joined him there. Marjorie joined him there. Never an apology. Steve never said that he was sorry.
Child, let me tell you something. Everyone's out here talking about Steve Harvey writing relationship books, but please, the real mastermind behind all this dating game is none other than Miss Marjorie Harvey herself. And trust me, this woman didn't just stumble into success, she worked for it. When I tell you she grabbed onto that opportunity and held on for dear life, securing futures for her children and grandchildren, woo! But here's where it gets interesting. Everyone's been side-eyeing Lori Harvey's dating life, wondering what kind of lessons her mama's been teaching her. Well, if you really want the dirt, you need to have a chat with Mary Lee, Steve's ex-wife. This woman has been spilling all the tea about the messy triangle between her, Steve, and Marjorie for years. Now let me break this down for you, because the way Marjorie played her cards, pure genius. From her humble beginnings to becoming the woman who has Steve Harvey wrapped around her finger, buying her the finest things money can buy, it's a masterclass in getting what you want. And let's be real, Steve and Marjorie, they're literally two peas in a pod. While Steve was out here using Mary Lee and his first wife Marcia as stepping stones until his career took off, Marjorie was playing her own game. Speaking of games, let me tell you about young Marjorie. And when I say young, I mean 18-year-old Marjorie. Y'all, the streets didn't nickname her Lady Heroin for nothing. And honey, I did not make that up. This woman knew exactly what she wanted. The designer clothes, the fancy restaurants, the luxury vacations, and she wasn't about to settle for any man who couldn't provide that lifestyle. Enter Jim Townsend, this big-time substance dealer. Now here's the tea. Jim was married and he made it crystal clear he didn't want any more kids. But oh honey, Marjorie had other plans. She saw her chance and took it. Stopped taking those birth control pills without telling him a word. Can you imagine Jim's face when she showed up one day, all smiles, announcing she was expecting? But wait, it gets even messier. While she was with Jim, Marjorie got herself so tangled up in the Memphis drug scene that she had to drop out of the University of Memphis. Her reputation was that bad. And just when she was pregnant with their second child, the feds came knocking at Jim's door. This wasn't your regular raid. They had receipts on Jim's operation, including evidence about his brother and Marjorie's involvement.
Well, they did indict her because, I made a deal with them not to indict. You got to be mindful. At this particular time that I was got busted, if you want to call it get busted.
Okay.
They showed me, transactions between Marjorie and people that I knew they weren't lying. That people that, she had sold drugs to them, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, she 8 months pregnant. We got a 5-year-old daughter, so there was no way, whatever I could do to keep her from going to prison or being indicted. And see, I know how those feds.
So what happened next? Well, Jim, trying to protect both Marjorie and his brother, took a plea deal. And would you believe it? He got sentenced to life. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Marjorie didn't even let 5 years pass before she dried those tears and started hunting for her next big catch. Now, there's some spicy gossip floating around that she might have had a thing with NBA player Todd Day. Word on the street is that he helped her buy one of Jim's old clubs as a gift. But honey, that business venture didn't last long. She couldn't handle running it and had to sell it off. But don't you worry about Marjorie being lonely. Oh no. Before anyone could blink, she was walking down the aisle with none other than Darnell Woods, one of the infamous Wood brothers. They welcomed little Lori into the world, but this fairy tale didn't last long either. Because guess what? The feds came knocking again. They found evidence about the Wood family's substance operation, and just like that, Darnell was sentenced to 37 months behind bars. But did Marjorie wait around this time? Absolutely not. She filed those divorce papers faster than you can say gold digger. Now listen, everyone's got a past, but having 2 ex-husbands in prison, that's not just bad luck if you know what I mean. But Marjorie knew she needed a change of pace, something more stable, less dangerous. And that's when she set her sights on our favorite suited-up comedian. When she finally got rid of Darnell in the early 2000s, Steve Harvey was everywhere. Fresh off the Kings of Comedy tour, making serious money, nothing like the struggling comedian she'd met years before at those local clubs. But there was just one tiny problem. Steve was still married to Mary Lee. So what did our clever girl do? According to the streets, she started dating Steve's bodyguard, Big Boom. Now between you and me, Steve was never really Marjorie's type, but times were getting tough and Steve's grass was looking mighty green. So she slowly let things fizzle with Big Boom and positioned herself right in Steve's line of sight. And oh my goodness, did she play her cards right? She rekindled that old crush Steve had on her, and before you knew it, he was taking care of all her needs while she played the happy mistress. And let me tell you what happened when Mary Lee found out about Marjorie. It was like a soap opera come to life. But Marjorie, she didn't even flinch. You see, Mary was fighting a losing battle from the start because, as they say, you can't steal a man who doesn't want to be stolen, and Steve, he was absolutely obsessed with Marjorie. Poor Mary was the one who really suffered through all of this. Once Steve made Marjorie his main priority, he cut Mary off completely and started those divorce proceedings. And Marjorie, oh, she got so bold that she would actually call Steve's house knowing Mary would answer, just to rub it in her face that she was with Steve. Can you imagine the nerve?
I think he did see her as the best image for what he was trying to do, you see. And so, but who knows his mindset, you know, but because like I said, she ain't just that bright now, but she's shrewd.
But she ain't the brightest person in the room.
No, but she's shrewd. I got to give her that.
Okay.
And
And she was excellent at taking husbands.
Yeah, the record speaks for itself.
Now, when Marjorie and Steve finally tied the knot, that's when she really showed her strategic genius. She convinced all her children, even the grown ones, to take Steve's last name. Why? Because she knew that Harvey name would open doors for them. But that's not even the most shocking part. She actually persuaded Steve to get custody of his youngest son with Mary. And to this very day, Mary still hasn't been able to rebuild a proper relationship with her only child, Winton. But here's the thing about Steve. He wasn't naive about Marjorie's colorful past. Even with his big public image to protect, he started helping her clean up her reputation and settle all those debts she had from her Memphis days. Talk about true love, right? But honey, the internet never forgets. People are still dragging Miss Marjorie to this day. Just look at what they're saying about her. One person wrote, "Sounds like she's been passed around way more than a collection plate. She's not a gold digger. She's one of the best cons I've ever seen." Ouch! And it doesn't stop there. Another comment read, "I'm glad someone is telling the truth about Marjorie. She acts so brand new as if she wasn't from the streets. Now people can understand why Lori is a roundaway girl like her mama." The shade of it all. But wait until you hear this last one. Someone actually wrote, "No matter what she wears, she can't cover up who she really is." Now that's what I call a read. So what's your take on all this tea about Marjorie? Is she just playing the game like everyone else in Hollywood, or is she really the ultimate strategist who knew exactly how to land herself a wealthy man? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I am dying to hear what you think about all this drama. And hey, before you click away, make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe. Trust me, you don't want to miss any of the juicy stories I've got coming up next. Until next time, my gorgeous gossip lovers, bye patties. And there you have it, the complete story of how Marjorie Harvey went from the streets of Memphis to becoming Mrs. Steve Harvey with all the drama in between. Can you believe all this happened in real life? It's better than any reality show I've ever seen.